am so looking forward to sharing this video with you today. We are going to be putting a piano key border on this rainbow string quilt. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited about getting this done, but let's go ahead and talk through this. Now, I have a video tutorial for this rainbow string quilt that I made a few weeks back. So if you haven't seen it, I'll put it in the description below so that you can go back and watch that video. This is a paper foundation quilt. So there's paper on the back. I started taking the paper off a little bit for the sake of making or adding the other stuff, but I don't think it's a big deal. I hope it's not a big deal. And so I've put a border around the outside. These are all 2.5-inch strips, and then our border is 2.5-inch strips as well. I have a little bit of concern about this border because it is very, very dark. I'm going to let me show you the fabric. The fabric on camera, to me, it looks much darker than it is, but it's a deep purplish pink. So this is it up close. But of course, on the camera, it looks way, way dark. And I only used it a couple times here in the center of the quilt. And so it just looks very contrasty. So, but I wanted to use it. I have a lot of this. Actually, this is the last bit of it. So it's a little over a yard or right at 1 yard that I have left over, plus bits and pieces that are in my scrap bin. So I wanted to use it. I thought it would be a nice deep dark to bring this quilt top together. And it's okay, but I am concerned that it's dark. Either way, I'm going to put this piano key border around it. And what we're going to be doing is taking leftover strips from this top and putting them in a strip set along the side. And I've made a previous video about things that you can do with your leftover 2.5-inch strips. And the piano key border was like my bonus, but I did not show it on camera. So we get to show it today. So excited. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to start with, I want you to see kind of the basic premise of the piano keys. If you are a seasoned quilter, you already know about this. But if you're new, you may not have heard of a piano key or you need a few pointers. So either way, hopefully this video will be something that can give you some inspiration. So let's start by going over the basic premise, and then we'll look through these scraps and see what we got to make some piano keys. Here's the premise of the piano key border. What you see here on the left side of this border, I made a strip set out of some of my strips of fabric that I had left over from this quilt. And I have 8. I have them in rainbow order. So red, pink, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. And then I'm going to put a neutral as the 8th fabric. And I'm just going to continue this pattern all the way around the quilt. I'm actually going to do the longer sides first. So the left and the right first. And then I'll do the top and the bottom. I've measured this quilt top and it is about 64.25. And with my 2.5-inch strips that are 8 strips long, I'm going to need 4 strip sets to go down either side. Now here's what it comes from. It's going to be kind of messy. So there we go. I started with the leftover strips from my from the quilt. I went through all the boxes and I've roughly sorted them by size. Not super well, but roughly. And what I need to do to create the strip sets is I'm just going to go through the strips that have all the colors. So I know I'm not going to use all these, and I'm not going to need as many strips as I thought, I don't think. But it'll remain to be seen. If I was going to use the shorter strips like this one here, I will be able to get more, but I'm just not sure what colors I have in there. And to be honest, I really cannot find the blue and purple that was left over. Those were the very first ones. So I don't really know where those are. And there are really not a lot of neutrals in this stack either. I did go through all of my boxes though, and I put the full width of fabric back in their storage bags. So these are my color strips, and I just went through the yellows and greens, and so I put a few more strips in here. And then my neutral strips, they're back in their bag as well. So I'm just going to go through here and see what I have. I do have one strip set that I've already started, and it was from this stack. So it's between these two sizes. The strips on my left are almost full with the fabrics, but not quite. And then these on my right, I would guess they're probably 8 inches, 7 inches, or 8 inches. So I'm just going to see what I have the most of, and then we'll start creating some strip sets. I think if I start here, this one and this one both have neutrals in it, and I'm not exactly bound by size. I can kind of work around it, but let's just see what we can find. This one I think has a lot, and then I'll pull a neutral. So let's see. I do like this. So this is going to make it messy. So it is what it is. So let's try. We'll do this red, either one of these reds. I think I'm going to try the polka dots this time. And then a pink. Let's do this pink. Is that too close? Maybe. Let's do this pink. Okay, yes. Good. Then orange. There's only one orange in this stack. So there. Yellow. Let's do this yellow right there. And then for the green, this was a green in the quilt, so I'm going to use it as a green. And then blue here. It looks like there's two blues, so we'll do this blue. Okay, there's only one blue in this stack, so that's our blue. It looks more orange right there. Did I use it in the quilt? Yeah, in the quilt, I called it a blue, so it's going to be a blue. And then purple. There are not a lot of purples in here, so I have a couple of options. I can take some of these smaller purples and sew them together. So there's one purple there, one purple there, one right there. Okay, so I could take one of those. Actually, there are several of those that I could sew together. Or I can go down here and get a longer purple. I think I'm going to, let's just sew a couple of these together. Yeah, if I take two of these, they're exactly the same. Let me see if that'll give us the length that we need. It really doesn't matter. They do not have to be the same. Yeah, that'll give us close to what we need for that. And that's a selvage, so it's going to come off anyway. So we'll do these. And then for the neutrals, I don't have a lot of neutrals. I'm going to go to this stack and we'll pull. So in this stack, I have gray and this white and the TVs. So let's do this one. There we go. And this will be our strip set. So let's go ahead and start stitching it, and then we'll go through the rest of the process. All right, it's time to put this strip set together. Hopefully my hands will not be in the way too much. This is my pile of fabrics. I am going to keep them in the sewing order. And I do have another pile that's a leader ender. Okay, so let's do the red and the orange together. So I'm going to just pull the red, pull the orange. I'm going to try and not talk during the stitching so that you can, so that I can speed it up and I won't have anything extra to say and you don't have to watch me. So to the point of exhaustion. All right, so I'm just putting red on top of orange. Watch your 1/4 inch seam, but I don't think it's going to be too stressful on this one. But let's see. So I'm just I have a quick moment of encouragement for the new quilters. You do not have to be perfect all the time. And I know that because I should have stitched pink to this red, but I stitched orange. So I'm going to speed up the camera and you can watch me do a little seam ripping, and then I will sew it the way that I wanted to sew it. And then we'll keep moving on from there. Now that we have this stitched the way that I wanted to do it, with red going next to pink, I'm going to finger press this. And for this strip set, I'm always going to press toward the strip that I just added. So you'll see me doing that here. Now I'm going to add on the orange. So I put a pin down here at the bottom because I learned a valuable lesson, or I relearned a lesson from the Type It quilt, that for these longer strip sets, I need to alternate the direction I sew so that they don't get that slight curve on the as I put them together. So I'm going to start stitching at this end, which means the orange is going to go on the bottom, pink is going to go on the top, and then same 1/4 inch seam as I add on the new piece. It's time to add the next strip. So again, I have the pin here to know where my starting point is. Move the pin, and then we're going to add the yellow strip. It's time to add the next strip, which is going to be green. I'm giving this a quick finger press, and then we will start stitching. This is the other piece that I was using as a leader ender for this project. But I wanted to show it to you because I'm on my last strip, my neutral strip. And for this strip, I actually pieced 3 pieces together to get it big enough. So I'm going to stitch this last strip on this one, and then I'll use this one to show you the next few steps. Hold on, this is weird. My little stand doesn't seem to want to work, but okay, so I'm just going to stitch this on, and again I put my pin at my next starting point, so it's going to go on the top, and then from this point I'll show you how I get this ready with this strip set. I have our piece completely stitched, and I went and gave it a nice press. I did cut a piece off so that I could kind of preview it for you. This is going to be a 5-inch strip, Here's the cutoff strip, and I'm just going to fold this in half and just see how many 5-inch strip sets we can get off of it. And then we will set it beside the quilt top to see how many we're going to need. And even though I already cut this, I am going to give it another straight edge, generally just trying to line up the lines with the ruler. I'm using my shape cut. So let's see, hopefully my arm won't be in the way. So that's me getting the straight edge, and I'm just going to cut it at 5, at 10, 15, and this ruler only goes to 18, so I'm going to move it out of the way and get these right here. This is a pretty good strip set number. I'm happy with that. That's pretty neat. And then just kind of reline up, see how good we can get it. The process is pretty forgiving. I'm not stressed about it at all. So we're just going to do it again. I can get one more 5-inch strip out of this. And then I'm actually going to start thinking about the binding. So I'm going to go ahead and cut some binding strips. I want to do a flange. I'm just going to go ahead and plan on a flange binding for this quilt. And I'm going to cut these pieces into 1 3/8 and just see how many we get off of here. So just 1 3/8 strips. This is going to be the larger portion of the binding, not the flange. The flange is probably going to be that dark purple. Hold on, let's move this so you can actually see what I'm doing here. And my hand won't be in the way. So this is 1 3/8. My hand will still be in the way because I'm left-handed. But there's 1 and 2. Let's see. Okay. All right, and I won't be able to get a third one out of this, but I'm going to cut a nice edge. So maybe like a 1-inch strip off of this here that can go into my string bucket or my string storage. So this is going into my strings. It's a pretty skinny strip, but it has all those colors on it, so it's going to be pretty cool. And then the rest of this can go in the trash except for this piece. This is going to be a nice crumb. So I'm going to put that in my crumb storage. All right, so here is the next part where my quilting personality is going to come in. I don't know if, just like the way that I want to kind of control how this piece comes together. Now, what I'm doing right now is completely optional. You can choose how you want to set up your piano keys. But the way that I want to set mine up is I have 4 of these or 5 of these pieces that are exactly the same, but I don't want them to be in the same place on the quilt. So I'm going to start here, and then I'm going to kind of put them in some different places around the quilt top. So for example, I'm going to have this side go down with starting with red. This side is going to go in the opposite direction. And then I'm going to have red in this corner. And this is probably not, so I'm going to say it wouldn't be right there. I wouldn't put it at the end. I'll put one right here. And then maybe one right here. Okay, so like that. Okay, and then I don't have enough space down at the bottom, so I'm going to put the other ones up above this top row. So that red is going to come this way, which means these reds are going this way. So I'm going to put this one right here. And then, and then one more. I'll just put it right here, so there will be another set in between it. Okay. And so now all I have to do is kind of fill up these spaces. So I know I need 2 on each side. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1, 2, 3. That's an estimate. 1, 2, 3. So 4 plus 6, I think. So I need 10 sets. I still have one set that I'm finishing up. And so I'll see how many pieces I can get out of that. And then we'll just kind of fill this in with some different strip sets. I will show you what my preview looks like before I start stitching everything together. I have a temporary layout right here of my blocks or my border in order with these piano keys. So for each row, I'm actually going to use 4 different strip sets. I have 1 set left over, and this is going to be cut down into binding strips. And then I have some extras down here too, just a few leftovers. I'm going to take a few minutes and sew all of these strip sets together. And I think I'm going to take the quilt upstairs so we can lay it all out and get a good look at it. But let's get these stitched up right quick. I brought the quilt upstairs so that I could lay it out with the piano keys all the way around it. I think it's going to be absolutely so cute. I want to zoom in a little bit. I changed the order of the piano keys. I was going to have the red come from the left, but I decided to start at the top. And so the order is going to go the same all the way around. So the second side, starting with red, third side, starting with red, and then this side, starting with red. It's really interesting and cool. I think that once I get it stitched together, that very last neutral piece on the top and the bottom is going to end up coming off, and then the border will be exactly the right size. So my next step is going to be to pin the side borders left and right, get those stitched, and then pin the top and bottom, get those stitched. So I'm really excited about how it's coming together. I will show you the final look at a later video. So if you have questions about what you've seen in this video, leave them in the comments. Thumbs up this video, share it with your friends. Here's a thumbs up. Thumbs up this video, share it with your friends. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Bye.